The member for Ryan.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Treasurer. Following his meeting with the G20 finance ministers, will the Treasurer outline to the House how the Morrison government's strong economic plan is providing stability and certainty to Australia, and is the Treasurer aware of any risks associated with alternative policies?
The Treasurer.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. And I thank the member for Ryan for his question and note his experience as a councillor with the Brisbane City Council and his commitment to strong economic management, Mr Speaker. Now, when we came to government, unemployment was rising, investment was falling, and we know that the Australian economy was not heading for a surplus budget as it is today, Mr Speaker. Australia is now in its 29th consecutive year of economic growth. We have a AAA credit rating. We have the first current account surplus since 1975. Welfare dependency is at a 30-year low, Mr Speaker, and we have seen nearly 1.5 million jobs being created since we came to government. In fact, Mr Speaker, in the last jobs numbers, Mr Speaker, we saw that for each month for the last 3 years, for the first time ever, we have seen jobs growth, Mr Speaker. We have a record number of Australians in work, a record number of women in work, Mr Speaker, a record participation rate, Mr Speaker. In fact, employment growth is more than 3 times what we inherited from the Labor Party and more than double the OECD average, Mr Speaker. And we will continue with our economic plan, an economic plan that's seen the most significant tax cuts in more than 2 decades, a $100 billion 10-year pipeline of infrastructure, more investment in apprenticeships and skills, Mr Speaker, and more trade agreements. But, Mr Speaker, I'm asked, are there any alternatives? Well, we know that the former member for Lilly and the mentor to the now member for Rankin said this: "It's important that our political leaders work hard to build confidence in our economy and not be out there talking down the economy, Mr Speaker." But that is what the Leader of the Opposition did last week. He compared the Australian economy to Greece, Mr Speaker. Shame on you! Shame on you, the Leader of the Opposition. Mr Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition used the language of the GFC, Mr Speaker.
The Treasurer resume his seat. The Leader of the Opposition will just resume his seat for a second. No, just. I take it the Leader of the Opposition is seeking to take a point of order. Oh, OK. Well, we can live with that. We'll call the Treasurer.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Now, Mr Speaker, the Labor Party have shown themselves unable to deliver a budget surplus when they were last in government. And a budget surplus and a strong budget position is not about a bookkeeping exercise, as the BCA have said, but rather it restores confidence in the stewardship of the nation's finances and makes the country stronger. That is what the peak business community of Australia has said. Now, Mr Speaker, we will continue to deliver strong jobs growth. We will continue to preside over an economy that is growing in its 29th year, and we will continue to lower taxes so that Australians can earn more and keep more of what they earn.